All right, we're talking about the snake snatch. I'm going to demo a few, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So, a few things I want you to watch. One, path of the bar, see where it goes. Two, my hips, where I'm actually moving them. And three, the actual lockout of the bar. So there you go, the snake snatch. It's a pretty simple movement. You'll see, one, I never touch my hips, right? So it's obviously going to be a lightweight that I use this for. But there's a few reasons why I'd use this versus a power snatch or versus a muscle snatch, or just turning over and locking out. First, how does this actually differ from a power snatch? People get confused sometimes. Besides the fact that I'm not making hip contact, you can do that with a power snatch too. Other things how it differs is, number one, that weight never, with the bar, never changes directions, right? So with a power snatch, oftentimes, especially if it's heavier, it will change directions and we'll go underneath it to catch it. That never happens with the snake snatch. It continues up the whole time, right? Two, the lockout is a whole lot more subtle, right? Whereas if with the power snatch, it's more of an aggressive turnover, a really strong lockout. Lockout here, it's only like 2 inches, if that, right? But it just reduces the demand of the triceps and the shoulders a little bit, so we don't have that same input as we would for a muscle snatch, right? And then three, rather than the hips going back when we go to catch, like we were with the power snatch, the hips are actually gonna start to slide underneath the bar to be able to stand it up, right? Always compare the snake snatch to sort of like a really light push jerk, where you could do a push press, right? But it's sometimes just a little bit easier to just kind of dip right under it, and that bar never changes directions, right? But it allows us to be able to move a little bit more efficiently. So sometimes it's a really good option. Reasons why you'd use this versus, again, a power snatch or versus a muscle snatch, and again, those are great options depending on the workout, right? So the power snatch, obviously if it's relatively heavy, we don't squat it, power snatch it, right? At a certain point, it's going to get to the point where it's light enough where you don't really need to power snatch it, but the demands of the workout are so that you don't want to just continually aggressively turn over and punch out at the top, where your triceps, shoulders, everything that locks out the bar is going to get taxed a lot. So say it was something like, even like a bar facing burpee, where you're getting a lot of input from your triceps and shoulders, and you're going to have a really tired lockout by the end of it. It's going to be a pretty good option just to dip those 2 inches and be able to save that lockout a little bit more versus the muscle snatch. So snake snatch is a good option if it's too light and you don't feel like power snatching it, but the demands of the workout are so that it's gonna be too taxing if you just punch every single one out and lock out really strong overhead. So good luck, give it a go.